Hello, true believers. Welcome to my channel, Mr. Miracle Comics. My name is Dave, and today we have 5 more undervalued comic books for us to take a look at. So we're still kind of in the lull between, the ending of Falcon and the Winter Soldier and when Loki starts here in June. A few weeks before that happens, right? Still kind of, processing everything that happened with, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Loki's dropped some trailers and checking those out. I thought it was pretty funny that, the whole DB Cooper thing that they had in the trailer. Um, but yeah, trying to process Falcon and the Winter Soldier still a little bit, and I guess not so much, the show itself, but exactly what these streaming shows are going to start, meaning to the MCU, and we're not going to get these super major reveals. I guess, U.S. Soldier was a good reveal. WandaVision having Monica Rambeau show up was a good reveal. Like those are major characters that were revealed in the show, so we'll get a little bit of that, but it's not going to be the big, you know, main movie kind of reveals that we're normally going to get. But that's okay. There's still lots of things that these streaming shows are going to do: set up bigger characters, bring in minor characters, reveal origins, that kind of stuff like that. So, looking ahead to Loki, of course, we've seen a lot of, well, we know time travel, right? There's all kinds of time travel stuff that's obviously been revealed. Um, Dealing with the Loki show, there's rumors about that been going on since they even talked about making Loki in the first place. Right now, we've seen the trailers and we know for sure that there's some time travel stuff going on there. A time variance authorities involved. Um, Timekeepers are involved, and that's kind of where our first spec book goes. Okay, so from 1993, it is the Avengers, the Terminatrix objective. See that there? Still got the price tag on it, so you can't see the thing. Anyways, this has the first appearance of a character who is the supreme being of the timeline, named, I'm gonna butcher this name, Elioth, I think. Anyways, basically she's the timekeeper's boss. She's could possibly be alluded to in Loki as well as who the timekeepers are answerable to. But yeah, so more importantly with this book as well, it has the first appearance of Kang Swanich, Kang Ralux, and Kang Kaiasis. I'm probably butchering all those names too, guys. So forgive me, but that's basically it. Who are all members of the the Council of Cross Time Kangs, right? So we've seen because of Endgame, where Loki grabbed the thing, that there can be multiple versions of the same character now, right? Loki that died in Endgame is not the same Loki that teleported away and went through time that's going to be in the Loki show. He is, but he isn't, right? He's been split into two. So if they are going to bring in Kang, and there's lots and lots of, very strong rumors about Kang, and Kang making his appearance in Wasp, and Ant-Man and the Wasp, of course, and it could very well, have different iterations of him as well. And a lot of these Kangs got together to, stop other Kangs from destroying the universe or doing this, or thwarting other plots and plans and whatever. And this was the Cross Time Council of Kangs. So this was the first appearance of a few of those guys as well. So this could turn out to be a much more important book, much more. And I'm just going to show you the price I paid for it there. $3 Canadian, right? So um, less than the cover price of it originally in 1993. It's got this fantastic 90s foil cover on there for that one. See how shiny that guy is. And yeah, but it could turn out to be much more important than a $3 book if some of these cross time or Council of Cross Time Kangs do show up in any kind of property. If Kang shows up, if. Remember, we're always doing really, really early specs on these books, right? So there's a lot of ifs, more risk involved, but a cheaper buy-in, as it were, right? So from 1993, Terminate the Avengers, the Terminatrix Objective number one, right? First appearance of Elioth, the supreme being of time. First appearance of Kang Swanich, Kang Raulix, and Kang Keisuko. Members of the Cross Council, the Cross Time Council of Kang. So for $3, you can. I went on eBay and took a look. This book usually is sitting around $5 to $10 mark would be a reasonable price, I think, to pay for a nice mint condition copy of this book. So yeah, so from 1993. All right, whew, sorry, a little bit tough to get that one out. That's just the first one. Let's keep rolling. We'll roll along. So again, keeping with these time variants, with the time variance authority and what's going on in the Loki show, I'm going to bring up from 1979, and that is Thor 282. First cameo appearance of the Timekeepers. Right, so their first full appearance is a book we spec'd on a long time ago, right? Avengers West Coast. This book has seen a real nice rise in price since the $3 that we spec'd on it way back when. And so I think this guy still has a chance. I mean, the Timekeepers may very well end up having a lot more to do with the MCU over the next little bit than just the Loki show, right? Than just being part of the Time Variance Authority. So it could be translating. The Timekeepers have stuff to do for multiple MCU projects, and I think even though it's a cameo, and this is like absolutely the definition of a cameo in my opinion, right? It's just sort of a shot at them from behind kind of deal. But this book is cheap, right? I was looking on eBay, Bronze Age, over 40 years old, and you can still find nice copies of this book anywhere from $10 to $20, right? If the Timekeepers continue on in the MCU, this book's going to get more and more known. Just as a cameo, I mean, this West Coast Avengers 62 will always be the more sought after book as it's their first full appearance. But this book should see a rise as well as more and more people as that one prices itself out. A lot of people will probably gravitate to this. A lot of people probably don't even know about this book, but like I said, it's a cameo. It's a super cameo, and take that as you will, but I still think that this book could see an increase in value. I ended up paying $6 for this one. I did a little bit of shopping for it, and paid $6 for that guy. Got a little pen mark up here on the Thor, but it is what it is. And yeah, so from 1979, it is Thor 282, first cameo appearance of the Timekeepers. All right. So, let's take a look at. Let's go a little farther ahead. Let's start taking a look at books that are going to end up in the property Secret Invasion. We know that this is coming, and we can see they're setting something big up here with Secret Invasion, right? We've already had a couple of instances where they've shown Skrulls in disguise. In the Loki trailer, there's a Skrull in chains somewhere, unknown why. But they're starting to really set up this whole Secret Invasion thing, right? So, Sword is kind of, is Shield's defense against aliens, and there's all kinds of different agents there. Abigail Brand has already kind of been specced out. I mean, if you want to go by her first appearance, that's fine. But that's a total spec book as well. And I think a good one, right? The first appearance of Abigail Brand. She's most likely going to show up in Secret Wars. But let's also take a look at some of the characters that surround her and surround Sword. And one of the characters' first appearance, and this guy is Brand's right-hand person, really. And his first appearance comes from 2005, and it is Astonishing XMen number 10, and it's the first of appearance of a character called Agent Deems. Okay, so yeah, like I said, he is Abigail Brand's right-hand guy. Wherever they work together as a team. He's kind of autistic, so he kind of relies on Abigail in that kind of way. But very smart, very helps her out quite a bit. And I would expect if she shows up, that he'll show up as well. Right? This book is still ridiculously cheap. There's some variants of this guy. This is a nice clean one. There's a virgin variant and stuff like that. So I bought this one for $2. That's an easy buy. It's like half the cover price for what we paid here in Canada, and just right out of the racks. It is, yeah, like I said, it could very well be if they have Secret Wars, if Abigail Brand is going to be part of Sword and be in there, that he would be kind of her tag along with that, right? And he could be a very intricate part of anything that happens with Sword. and her as a character, right? So specking this out one again for the Secret Invasion, which had a lot to do with Sword, and yeah, so for $2-3 that you can get this book, maybe five. I wouldn't go any higher than five. I think it's a deal. I think it's a good spec book to hold on to if he ends up in a trailer or ends up in the show, that this book is going to see pretty good rise from the $2-3 that you'll end up paying for it. And spooky cover on there. That's actually him. From 2005, it is Astonishing X-Men number 10, first appearance of Agent Deems. All right. Whew. Right, paid $2 to $5 for that one. Okay, moving along. So this is going to be the newest book on our list. It is from 2016, as we've all talked again and again and again. Star Wars is hot, and from the comments that I get a lot of positive comments when I put Star Wars specs in here, and it's because they're so hot and they're hard to dig out, and you got to know your Star Wars history and your comic history and all this extra stuff that you might not. If you're just a big Marvel fan, and you're trying to get into Star Wars, you may not always know all the keys and where they are. But this book, it comes from 2016, and it has the first appearance of a character named Sin Drelling, and it is Kanan the Last Padawan, number 8. Okay, so this again is a cameo appearance. He just kind of appears in very quickly in this book. But as far as I can tell, this is Sin Drelling's only comic book appearance. So Sin Drelling is the Jedi Master, the Jedi Sword Master at the Temple, and he did make a little appearance in Revenge of the Sith. There's a scene where he shows up in a hologram, and all of a sudden he gets attacked, and the hologram switches off. Right, so he's like the Sword Master. Even Yoda, says that he's the best sword, the best sword wielding Jedi of all time. He was killed by Darth Vader, by Anakin Vader, when he went into the temple, killed all the younglings. There was supposed to be a fight with this guy as well. So there's been a lot of talk about the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and especially about Hayden Christensen's return to the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, being cast and returning as Darth Vader in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. And a lot of people are speculating that this whole attacking the temple, the Jedi temple, may be a part of it. Maybe, right? But I think like seeing a fight between Sin Drelling and Anakin Skywalker as Vader, when he was like, the Sith Lord finally, would be so epic, right? It would be a fan favorite. It would kick butt all over the place. I know the actor that played it in Revenge of the Sith. He wasn't actually an actor. He was like one of the stunt coordinators or something like that they gave a little cameo just so he could be in the movie. They probably won't bring him back as that character. They would bring back somebody else in replacement of it. He's literally in that movie for 5 seconds, 8 seconds or something. But this is his first appearance, and I really think that would be a beyond epic fight that we could see in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. They've been talk. They're saying that Obi-Wan Kenobi is not going to be the only Jedi in that show, right? They're going to bring in some other characters. So we know Hayden Christensen is coming back as Darth Vader in some manner. Could be that we see this fight. Could be we see him fighting Mara Jade. Could be some other scene, between him and Obi-Wan. It's really up in the air right now. What's happening with the Obi-Wan Kenobi show? There hasn't been a whole lot of leaks to it. But I think this is a good spec book because I picked this one up for $7.99. So you're looking at around $10, and I did my shopping and I found it. But I wouldn't pay more than $10-20 for this guy. That was kind of the range I was hoping to find. When this guy popped up for cheap, I scooped it up right away. That was on eBay, of course, so plus shipping. It's one of my eBay buys. I don't buy off eBay all that often. But I thought this was a good pick, and if Sin Drelling does show up, if that scene does show up, this book is going to jump, right? Key Collector isn't even listing this right now as Sin Drelling's first appearance or anything about Sin Drelling. So if he does show up, Key Collector will probably list this, and then for sure it'll take a big jump once that happens, right? And I'm not saying, anything bad about Key Collector. There's just so many keys out there that's hard to keep up with every single one of them. I mean, Nick's doing a great job, but anyway. Um, yeah, so from 2016, uh, first appearance of Sindrelling in Kanan, the Last Padawan, number 8. Look to pay somewhere, 10 to 20 bucks would be a reasonable price for that guy for a nice mint copy of it. Nobody's specking on number 8, guys. So taking a look at number 5 on our list here, and it is from 1991. So we spec'd out, I've seen a pretty significant rise in Marvel Comics Presents number 72, which is the origin story of Weapon X. One thing I know about, there's a lot of comic book collectors that buy comics but never read comics. I like to read them, sort of online is more how I like to read them, less chance of like damaging the issues I bought. But I do read them. I obviously can't read every single comic book I buy. I buy way too many comic books for that. But a lot of people don't read comic books at all. They just collect them. And, that's perfectly legitimate. If all you're doing is, buying the books as an investment and you're collecting up all these books, fine. You don't have to read them. Nobody says you have to read comic books. Or read comic books to be a collector. It's all legitimate. Your collection is personal. Collect how you like to do. But a lot of people don't, so they don't realize that in Marvel Comics Presents number 72, Weapon X doesn't appear. Right? It's on the title, and I guess you can kind of see Wolverine floating in a tank, but he's not Weapon X at that point, right? So the story arc in that book is about him being captured and dragged back to the Weapon X facility, right? He's in somewhere up north, and he gets captured by all his agents and dragged back to the Weapon X facility and starts going through the process of becoming Weapon X. Well, he goes through that process over the next few issues, because Marvel Comics Presents is an anthology, and you only get about 5 pages of story per issue, so it takes several issues to actually equal a normal issue of a comic book. Anyways, finally, here in 1991, Marvel Comics Presents Weapon X number 77 is when he first becomes Weapon X, right? So this is the true first appearance of Weapon X. Up until this point, he's always referred to as Logan, right? Logan's doing well with this treatment. Logan's captured. Logan this. Logan. He doesn't have the adamantium in his body yet. He's like, the next bit of the story is just about the process of making him into Weapon X. So it's not till this one when they send him out on a big test run and he passes the test, and his programming is, they decide his programming is good. And at the very, end of this book, the doctor that's making him into Weapon X says, finally, he is complete. And now he is Weapon 10, or Weapon X, if you would, right? So this is the true first appearance of Weapon X. This is when he actually becomes Weapon X. Before that, he was just going through the process of becoming Weapon X. Key Collector doesn't list this one as well, or doesn't make that note that this is his true first appearance of Weapon X. You can find this book pretty easily for the $2 to $10 range. I think I paid $7 for this really nice mint copy of this guy. Not a bad book to have for $7. If Weapon X does show up, which is a lot of people are specking on, and I mean, why wouldn't you, right? It's such a big part of Wolverine's history, his origin story. I think it's, a really, really high probability that they're going to have Weapon X in some fashion. If they do a Wolverine streaming, even a Wolverine movie, they're going to do Weapon X in some sort of fashion. And yeah, so this is his true first appearance. It is from 1991. Look to pay somewhere in the $2 to $10 range for this book. First true appearance of Weapon X. So that's been our 5 books for today. I really appreciate everybody watching. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. We've been putting out videos every couple weeks, more like this. Hopefully I'm helping you guys out there. There's a lot of comic book history out there, and it's hard to track everything and figure out where everything is going. So I'm here to help, and I'll always help. Just reminding you, Wednesdays might be New Comic Book Day, but every day is Old Comic Book Day. This has been Mr. Miracle Comics. I'll see you in a couple weeks. Thanks for watching, guys.